Well, friends, here's part two with Danny Casolaro. We seem to now have 9 minutes and 29 seconds. So let us proceed onward. And Danny, I know you have more to say, and I'll shut up so you can say it. Thanks, Gord. Well, some interesting random notes that you might all be interested in, or I'm certainly interested in telling them. After my hasty dispatch in that hotel room, I was very angry. Angry at myself, angry at the man who took my life with such, unpleasant ruthlessness. Gosh, that was rough. And as you may have seen in many ghost stories or ghost narratives in film, I followed him around to see what he was up to and where he was from and what he was doing. And of course, he was an operative, one of those dark operatives. He had a busy life, and he had to get out of that hotel in Martinsburg, Virginia, and get the heck away so that he wouldn't be fingered. And he'd done this many times. As an intelligence operative, he had done all that stuff that they tell their children, sons, daughters. I had to do it for the security and safety of our great nation. So, he had his amazingly clean conscience for after what he did to me. And I sort of followed him around, angry, trying to trip him up, make a mess of his life any way I could. Of course, none of that really does you much good. It's rather hard to do. And unless you take lessons from those, how shall I say, darker spirits in the lower realms, you'll never actually figure out how to do it. And if you do take lessons from those darker spirits in the lower realms, you'll become one yourself. You'll become this vengeful, maddened loony. I think that's my word. That's not, I don't think Danny would use the word loony. Anyway, vengeful, mad, obsessive person. And believe me, I tried as many tricks as I could. Trying to sort of grab the wheel of his car and pull him off the road. That didn't work. Tried a number of things. Some of that elementary ghost stuff, the lights in the bedroom, the plumbing malfunctioning, all that sort of thing. And of course it didn't work. And but I did sort of follow him around and see who he was relating to, his contacts here, there, and everywhere, and some other, operations. And he was good. He'd been at it for a while, and he was good. He knew how to, as we say, infiltrate, gain people's confidence, find out what they knew, as he did with me, and deal with them as he was told to deal with them, even if it was just passing on a report. And I found out lots about that sort of thing, although I'd suspected it from my investigations, how these people operate. But it was interesting to see how they actually do it. And the games they play, the very clever games they play. Anyway, I eventually gave that up and listened to some advice from some other ghosts who sort of tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Danny, isn't it time you gave this up?" And I was weary enough that I said, "Well, yeah, I guess." And they, tempted me onward. And I said, "What are you tempting me into?" And they say, "Come and be in heaven and stop all this pointless activity. Come and learn to be happy," or words to that effect. And I did. And I got settled. And, in a community with friendly people who had either knew a little bit about my journey or I told them myself. You know, there's a lot of people in heaven and they've all got interesting stories to tell. And you can sit around and chat just as you would chat about your present life on earth with someone you might meet in a cafe or a pub or, you know, a club, a social club. There's much to chatter about. And in this world, we chatter about how we got here. And everyone has a different story. Some with illness, some with suicide that they suspected me of, but as you can tell, I did not do it. And thank you to my dear brother for never believing that story. I warned him it would be not self-harm, that there would be no accidents. And he believed me. And thank you, my brother in spirit. And thanks to all those family and friends who gave such nice reports about me in the documentary. I was such a lovely fellow until I got obsessed. And I know I disappointed them, and I apologize. I lost some of my shine as a human being and took on the shadows of those I was becoming obsessed with. This is what happens. You become rather shadowy yourself. I stopped short of being ruthless, but I did become shadowy. I did become obsessed. I know that now. And, you know, here's some funny stuff. You get to interact with some of the bad boys that were operatives and beneficiaries of the corrupt schemes, the corrupt money-making schemes involving, guns, drugs, fraudulent financial activities. And you know, some of them are still quite proud of what they did. And if I say that Howard Hunt is one of them, I don't think you'll be surprised. And Gordon certainly isn't. He knows a bit about Howard Hunt's checkered career. There are some people who enjoy, some spirits who enjoy being just on the other side of righteousness. And yet when they're there, they convince themselves that there's another kind of righteousness, a righteousness that transcends the honest, decent one. And Howard Hunt's still one of them. I thought he might change, but I've chatted with him a few times and interacted and, you know, played a few card games and that sort of a thing. Done all that sort of thing. And yes, no, he's still proud. Anyway, that's just, you know, one small example. There's lots of others, and you can probably guess who some of them are. Some, you know, bow out and don't play the game any longer, and some are still quite proud of their achievements and will brag about it if you give them half a chance. Anyway, that's all for part 2.